Bubba right away wins the hardcore title and would team a little with Spike before facing his biggest test yet. This really happened. Bubba wrestles the world heavyweight champion Triple H live on Monday Night Raw. And Dave Meltzer would write, Bubba did an interview running down Triple H. Bubba got a surprising amount of boos. Triple H, with Flair as his manager, beat Bubba in 7 minutes and 9 seconds, and they did some near falls that Bubba survived with Flair distracting. But the finish was clean as a sheet with the pedigree. You know, it did feel like you're trying to do something with him here. Do you think Bubba could have had a bigger run as a singles wrestler in WWE, or did fans just long for the tag team?
I think it was too soon. I think fans still long for the tag team. I think that the audience wanted them as a unit. That's how they were comfortable with the Dudleys. Same time, I believe that Bubba, and I think that time would go on to prove me correct, but it was, could have been much bigger as a single competitor.
You do think Bubba could have had a bigger run as a singles?
Yeah.
And why do you think that didn't happen at any point, like later in the years? Can you put your finger on?
Well, it did happen in TNA and different places. So
I mean, WWE though, like we saw.
I don't know that there were the opponents for him. I don't know that the right story was there for him. Could be a lot of reasons. Could be the way that the rotation of the earth was going at the time. There just wasn't that right story for him at the time. But I'm not sure. Look, there were times that Bubba and Devon both expressed, they would like to be singles. And then when they made them singles, it was like, yeah, well, they want us as a tag team. And there were times, don't break us up, we're a tag team. So it's the unknown. And sometimes you just got to take a leap of faith and go for it.
What about the inevitable? I mean, it feels like a lot of times, if we see the Steiner brothers split up or we see Sean and Marty split up, like eventually these tag team partners are going to face each other. Do you remember that being considered or discussed? What if we had Bubba wrestle Devon? Why didn't it happen?
Because they were brothers. Brothers don't fight.
Oh, Jesus.
What?
Well, I mean, look, you have defended that the other direction. I mean, don't be a smart ass here. Help me out. Like, did Vince just not like that idea? Did he not see? They
were on different shows, didn't? I think that the attraction was one of a tag team, and I think that the breaking up of that tag team and putting one against the other just wasn't something that fit at the time.
At Survivor Series 02, thankfully, the Dudleys are reformed in a tables match at MSG. This time it's Jeff Hardy teaming up with Spike and Bubba to take on Rico with 3-minute warning. But Devo comes out to put the band back together, so to speak. They hit the 3D on Rico. These guys are better together than apart. And what a better place to put them back together than MSG. The Dudleys win the titles back and forth a few times, working with the likes of William Regal and Lance Storm. Then they run into La Resistance, and it's been said that for whatever reason, the Dudleys had some issues with La Resistance backstage. Did you ever hear about that?
I just think it was simply, first of all, you got 3 green guys there.
Right.
In La Resistance that, didn't know and had a lot of people in their ears. So you've got the Dudleys who had been around for a while and also were, they had buddies in the locker room too that are going to feed them shit in their ears. And there's miscue in the match. And I think that that's all it was. I think it was an accident, a miscue in the match that boiled over to calm down, man. How many times have you stiffed somebody? Chill out. So that's all it was. It all boils down to that. You hear about, this big blow up, blah, 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 blah. 9 times out of 10, you hear me stub my toe, you ought to hear the promos I cut.
Right.
I'll up the entire house. They'll think I'm dying, but I just stubbed my toe. That happens every day.
So listen, the Dudleys are going to hold the titles until December, and then they're going to drop the straps to Ric Flair and Batista. And this isn't the last run in between the Dudleys and Evolution. There's the infamous match where Bubba, Batista, and Randy Orton all got hurt in the same freaking match. That changed a lot of big plans. What can you tell us about what happened there and how you heard it all went down?
No, I think it was, again, you look at mistakes and you look at things that happen, they're accidents. But when one domino falls and they all fall down, but when you throw a pebble into a pond and you watch the ripple effect, then you throw a second pebble into the pond. Well, that ripple effect is still taking place and it creates new and different ripples off of that. Then you take a third pebble and you throw it over here on the other side of those ripples, and you've got ripples going everywhere. So, yeah, it just, you start all over. That's what you do. You can bitch about it. You can hang your head and go, oh, woe was me, not what I wanted to do. Holy shit. We had this planned and that planned and everything else. But you know what? None of that's going to happen now. And it's funny. Somebody asked me the other day, well, what did you do when this happened? I said, couldn't tell you. They were hurt. We had to come up with something else.
Right.
My job wasn't to lament on the injury. My job was to figure out what the hell we were going to do next. And that was the most important thing. That's what was in front of us at the time. And I think that sometimes, I can come off very cold and heartless because, oh, you didn't even care they got hurt. Of course I do. Of course I do. I feel horrible when talent gets injured in a match because it fucks up our creative.
When you care about the people.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
But no, it is. It's just unfortunately, it screws everything up, and it's no fault of anyone. A guy can. I've watched guys jump over the top rope, entering a match, and break their ankles. Not going to mention Don Diamond's name, but
love you.
It's happened. And unfortunately, you can't sit there and go, oh, well, we were going to do this. I could not tell you one thing that we were going to do. Because we had to change. We had to change at that moment to make it right. You just don't have time to lament.